Hello everybody and welcome to another time-lapse painting. Thank you for joining me. As you can see, this is sitting above the clouds, and sitting above the clouds is a little lady just staring from a cliff, sitting there watching the sunset and some clouds passing by. It's just a sea of clouds there with one big cloud kind of jumping up. As you can see, I'm looking at it right now. Highly textured painting. This painting took me 13 hours, and I recorded just a little bit over 8 hours, like 8 hours and a half of footage. Much of it I took out just so I can get rid of some of the mundane parts, or just the highly repetitive nature of the painting. Anyway, here I go sketching in the clouds. I basically took some pictures from what people see from a plane, and I was like, okay, I can see how to do this. And then I kind of just winged it, really. I was just thinking, sometimes I like to close my eyes, especially when I'm sleepy. It's a good time to do it. Close my eyes and just imagine the painting, and I have a fairly good imagination, so I can see things sometimes fairly clearly, and I just imagine what it would look like, and then I use that to get into it. So at first I didn't exactly have the color palette completely picked out. I was actually going to go for more of a cool, so more of a like reddish color palette. Later on I switched to more of a cool one because clouds are usually more blue, and I wanted just the coolness to be coming only from the sun, or the warmth only coming from the sun, and then the clouds to be, so basically cool colors are blue, warm colors are red, so I wanted the warmth to come from the sun. So there you go. I skipped a little bit of the painting right there because I kept on going over and over how the sun would look like, and then so I took that part out because it was basically just the same thing over and over again. It would dry out and I put another layer, dry out and I put out another layer, and it was just a little bit repetitive to look at. So I moved directly into me throwing down the clouds. I started out with my little trusty thin brush, sculpting some of the smaller clouds that are farther away. Now when I started this painting, I was gonna make it a lot more darker too. So I was gonna have the sun, just the sun, be the the most bright area, and then everything else just look like a very dark sunset. That's why I chose this blue. But later on I decided to change the color a bit and make it lighter. Now the main inspiration for this painting is actually an older painting which I made with the same idea of mine, just sitting above the clouds looking at the sea of clouds. So I already made that painting. I forgot what I called it. But in a slightly different style, still textural but a little bit more abstract strokes, or much more abstract strokes. So I want to go back and use this new way of painting to remake something very similar to that. And as you see the painting progress, you'll kind of notice me skipping or just jumping to other areas that are filled in. Don't mind that. Just want to avoid the constant repetition, because even though you're watching this right now, me making the clouds, it's gonna get more and more repetitive, and I feel like I'd like to take that away. Or maybe you enjoy the repetition. You know what? If you let me know which one you like more. Do you like the repetitive nature of the painting, or do you want to see constant new things happening in the work? Just let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions, ideas, criticisms, whatever you want to say. I don't mind any criticism. You can be mean if you want to, don't matter to me. Not like I'm gonna let the text affect my daily life. I've had people be mean to me. Like I post on Reddit and people say something that's just hilarious, but it's hilarious because it's just obvious that you're wasting your time to say something that doesn't help you or doesn't help the commenter, and it doesn't help me. It's more of a an admonition, or it's like a person doesn't realize that they're admitting to something inside themselves. Because if you're gonna say something that doesn't help me and just meant to hurt me, then you are not happy with your life. So why are you admitting that to other people? Like, I'm not gonna take anything seriously if you're gonna tell me that in a roundabout way that you ain't happy. It's like, what? It's like making yourself happy. It's hard, but what the hell's the point then if you're not gonna do it? And you're not gonna make people happy, you know, by hurting others. But you will make yourself you will make yourself happy by helping others, though. That's kind of a secret to life. If that's a secret to you, hopefully not. You know, I'm hoping to become extremely rich as an artist, so I can help other people become artists, become multi-artists. So, because I've seen a lot of artists out there who are amazing, just absolutely amazing, but they're just not getting the credit they deserve, and that would be nice to help them, or to be on a team with them somehow. We'll see. Alright, I'm just still on the grind. And then the hopes of one day raising a family just through making paintings. And hopefully a community too, that'd be fun. I think one of the things I learned as I get older is building a community is actually where it's at. Anyway, excuse my tangent. As you can see, these are the background clouds I'm making. These are the more flat layers. And then later I'm gonna have that big old empty area right there where my hand is. I'm gonna have a cloud. That's the cloud that's popping up. Yeah, you gotta have a little bit of play. This is the one that bounces off the cliff. The sitter, the person who's sitting, or the little lady on the cliff. That's the one that's gonna hit the cliff. That's the cloud that's gonna hit the cliff, pop up. looks like the shape of France. And you can see when I sketched that in, I kind of just threw the dude in there, or person in there. I actually was gonna have a dude at first, but I decided to change my mind later, because I usually paint guys in the little scenarios, but I'd rather paint a girl because girls have long hair or usually have long hair, and it looks cooler artistically. So here I go. Again, we skipped a little bit more of the painting, just so we can get into where I get the intricate details in. As you can see, after I use the bigger fan brush and apply a bunch of the paint, I go back in with this thin brush so I can just give more detail, more move, more swirl, more curl, you know. Just a lot more plays to it. This painting was actually maybe one of the top 10 most fun paintings I've ever made. I just really enjoy making clouds, just because I don't really have to per se copy or capture anything in a very consistent way or in a very concrete way. Clouds are it's like the nature of clouds is that they can be completely shapeless, and that's a fun way to paint, because I don't have to, like I said, I can just be very intuitive about it, which is really fun. Man, whenever I paint these paintings, I think I go through a gallon bucket of modeling paste every 5 paintings, 6 paintings. I guess maybe more, maybe 7. And that's the secret to this, is the modeling paste. So if you ever go into this, I'm not using this paint straight from the tube, because that would be absolutely crazy expensive. But the modeling paste definitely makes a big difference in terms of price or amount of money I spend. I think I spent about $80 on a gallon bucket, which is a little bit pricey, but a gallon of paint would probably, especially of like any blue, would probably go up to like $200, maybe more, probably more. If you ever have any questions how to do these things, just question me in the comment section, man. I like talking about this, so I'll try to answer you. So we let everything dry, came back into it, throw in a lighter layer. This is just another little wisp coming off the cloud. And after everything dries, I moved to a cliff edge. And honestly, this was mentally this was like the most challenging part for me, because I just didn't look right from I don't know. I mean, I think I overthought it. And then here I go, just painting in the lower areas and starting with the clouds. Later on, I actually decided to change this color scheme a bit. I think I already touched on that before, because I let things get a little too warm. But I wanted to keep that in the video. I wanted to show how even though I put all this effort into it, I decided to change it. And with the cliff, I was getting really bothered by it, because I didn't want it. I didn't want the color to be too different than the clouds or the sky, because I didn't want to throw any green really. So then I threw green in there, but I didn't want to throw it in there. I just wanted to see what it looked like. That's why I'm using it in this scenario. And it just didn't come out well in the end. That green, I mean. So this actually looks pretty decent, but it looks too flat. At least maybe it's different, or maybe it was just me. Maybe I was just overthinking it. Decided to lighten it up a bit. But again, now it's too light and it's just too monotone, the clouds. And then I was like, okay, maybe I can make the cliffs contrast with the clouds. So I went for warm color, which is this brown. Also adding a little bit more texture, rocky texture to it. But in just a little bit, I decided to just paint over the whole thing. There you go. What I actually did was I used so I had this textured spray paint. I used spray painted over the whole thing, so it looks this like a little bumpy texture. Spray that over, and then I used some gray to spray it over again. And then I don't know, everything kicked into my head. I was like, okay, I know exactly what I want to do now. So all the steps I took before led me to knowing exactly what I want to do. Like, I knew I'm gonna make purple the cliffs, and I was gonna add a dab of orange and yellow. That's actually just that yellow looks way more brighter than it is. It's actually a lot more white than yellow when it dries. I feel like this is a painting where I overworked things too much. So sometimes it's just hard. Maybe it's just, you know, it's just kind of like when you play sports. You just have a stint where you just, for some reason, everything you do isn't coming out the way you want it to, and when you think about it in retrospect, it's like, oh, I could have fixed it so easily by doing A, B, C, and D, but for some reason at the time, nothing was working. Gotta hit the golden hair. And I'm pretty much done with this one at this point. Just adding more highlights, getting the sky to be lighter than the clouds, and that's it. Thank you for watching. Take care.